Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at the LC40 flashlight from Anker. Now Anker are well known for making USB power banks, USB cables and things like that. Not so well known for making flashlights, and as far as I know this is the first one they've made, and I have to say I'm not impressed at all. The first thing you notice when it arrives is it's very light, and if you unscrew the end you realize it's very light because they've used very thin aluminium, and it feels like if you drop this a few times it's going to dent and probably get damaged quite easily. Now it's not quite as bad as the dollar store or pound store flashlights, but it's not that much better either, so very disappointed with that. The next thing is it can either be powered by 3 AAA batteries using a little adapter, which I've actually lost already, or you can put in an 18650 battery. But the problem is when you put in an 18650, there's all that space there, so it rattles around. Now you might say, well, when you screw on the end it will secure it in place, so let's go ahead and do that. And you'd be right, it does kind of secure it in place, but if you tap it you can hear the battery hitting the side of the torch, so that's not great. They could have easily made like a little foam insert that goes around the battery, the 18650, before you put it in, and that would keep it secure in place, but obviously they haven't thought about that. Now let's talk about this little lanyard that they put on the end and the way they've secured it. The problem with how they've done it is that when you put it on a flat surface, it doesn't have a stable footing. It can easily tip over because this little lanyard string basically makes it uneven. So if you want to use it upright like this, for instance, if you're trying to light a whole room, you put this in the middle of the room, it's going to easily tip over, so you have to remove the lanyard. Now a better way to do it would be like on this one from Fruite. Now I'm not sure how well you can see, but on this one from Fruite they've actually connected the lanyard on the side rather than on the bottom, so when you stand it upright it doesn't cause any problems, it will stand upright. So not a huge deal, but again another little annoyance with this torch. And now let's talk about the modes. You can use the button on the end to switch between them. You've got a high mode, a low mode, and then a strobe mode. But the thing is, the high and low mode are basically exactly the same. There's no discernible difference between them, so it's high or high basically. And the strobe mode is so fast that I can't imagine any use for it other than like starting epileptic fits, because it just flashes so fast. In fact, mine's actually slowed down a little bit at the moment because my battery is getting low. And that's interesting because one of the things that Anker claim is that it doesn't matter if your battery is low voltage, it will still be high brightness until the point that it turns off. But I can tell you that's not true, because my 18650 in here, the battery voltage is quite low. It's still outputting light, but it's much dimmer than when it was freshly charged. And now let's talk about the light itself, because it's meant to be 400 lumens, and I could believe that. It's a genuine Cree LED, but the problem is that it's got such a hot spot, like all of the light is focused into the very center spot, and it's a nightmare because if you use it basically day or night, whatever you shine it on is so bright that you can't actually make out what you're looking at. Now normally when we say like overexposed, we're talking about cameras, but even for my human eyes this torch just makes everything overexposed. I can't see anything except a bright white spot, and if you use it at night it's like giving yourself a headache because it's so bright in one tiny little spot. So it's just useless basically. You can't use this for anything useful. The only thing that I found useful with this is to use it in the fog at night, to use it as if it's a lightsaber, because it's got such a like narrow focused beam. But otherwise as a general purpose torch it's absolutely useless. So I'll point it at myself to give you an example. Now I do have my video lights on, but you'll still be able to see what I mean. You see that like very hot spot here? It's super bright there, and then we've got a tiny bit of brightness here, but it's pretty much all directed into that tiny little hot spot. So yeah, it's really a bad flashlight or bad torch. I wouldn't recommend it at all. It's not cheap either. There are much better torches than this one. Like I bought this torch, it's just a generic one, but it's just better in like every single way. It's focusable, it can stand up better, it's got the tactical points on the end for breaking windscreens. It's just a much better torch, and it's cheaper. So yeah, I wouldn't bother wasting your money on this one, guys, and Anker really need to do some work to improve it if they're gonna make another flashlight. So if you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.